7 o'clock. We will call the town board meeting for October 21st, 2024 to order. First item on the agenda is the approval. Patrick, changes, deletions, additions?
Can't hear us.
Lisa? Oh, Lisa?
Yeah,
That one's on.
tap it. Yep, it's on.
All right,
Better now? Can
I'll
you
try
hear?
to yell. All right, the agenda.
No changes, Mr. Chair, from staff.
All right, I have a couple of things. I think we're going to switch the improvement plan for Mallard Ponds and Parkview. We're going to just switch those. We'll do Parkview first. And then because we have a closed session with our attorney, I'm going to move the open time ahead of that, because when we go into closed session, I have to have the room emptied out. So I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to say what they ought to, and once we do that, everybody will have to leave the building. Board have anything?
No changes.
No, those covered the items I wanted to cover. I'll move to approve the amended agenda as noted.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion carries. Next item is approval of payment of bills. Steve, you sign off.
I did. I moved to approve payment of the bills.
Well, second?
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, item 4 is approval of prior meeting minutes of October 7th. Does the board have any changes?
I saw no changes.
I saw no changes. Move to approve the minutes of the October 7th meeting as is.
I will second.
All right, motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, number 5 is a consent agenda item. These are 3 items that has been reviewed. We put them under consent so we don't have to bring them up through the meeting. Is the board okay with them?
I'm fine with all of them.
Yes, it's fine. Looking for a motion. I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on, item 6, this is old business. This is Crown Castle additional consent letter. Patrick, you just want to give us a quick overview of this?
Well, I think it's just expanding for or adding cell towers up on top of an existing structure for us, and we were going to have questions about whether or not it's engineering, if its engineering is appropriate to support more, and if TKTA would be on that with us. And you had some issues with some of it. I
Well,
think.
I saw a memo stating Chad, you looked at this and.
Read it.
But you were wanting to forward this off to TKDA to have their engineers look at it?
Under the terms of the lease, they have the right to add additional transmitters, but those transmitters have to be added safely. In other words, the tower has to be able to handle them. And I did read the engineering report. All I can say is, I don't know. I mean, it's.
No, it's like 90 pages.
Well, it's 90 pages, but how do we know what, I can't say I can't in good faith say it's a safe thing to do. It's going to require an engineer to review their analysis and determine whether or not the structure can support it.
So are we looking for a motion just to move this to TKDA and continue it on until,
I think that's probably best for now. Yes. We tried to get it into the first meeting in November, just for the sake of the vendor.
You could approve a contingent on successful.
Do that too.
yeah, let's do it that way, then it doesn't have to come back to us.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a timing on this for them or if it's something they're trying to do yet this fall.
But even if you do it with the contingency, you're still going to have to come back and agree that the contingency has been met. So you're still going to formally approve it, no matter what.
All right, so we'll be on the timeline of TKDA.
There's pressure for you, Larry.
So we're going to move to send it to TKDA and then bring it back?
Correct.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second?
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion carries. Now we're moving on. Item 7, these are public hearings. The first one is a stormwater pollution prevention program. I need a motion to waive the reading, noting it's been properly published.
I'll move to waive the reading as it was properly published.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And then I need a motion to open up the public hearing.
I'll move to open the public hearing.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And I believe, Larry, you're going to go over this for us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and Town Board. Since 2003, the township has been, had to receive a permit from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency for operation of the drainage systems within the township. And there's a number of criteria, and that permit has been updated since in 2013 and 2021. And so since that time, we have accomplishments and requirements we have to do to meet the permit. And one of them is to hold a public hearing tonight to take testimony from the public if there's comments about the drainage system within the township. And there's also, I'll go through a number of things that we need to do as a part of our permit. Hold the annual meeting, perform public education, which we rely on our township website if anyone is interested in information on our drainage system, and has links to other stormwater education. We have to have an advisory committee, and we use the town's utility commission for that. We have to have a storm sewer system map, which we have and we update each year. We have to have a stormwater ordinance or discharge ordinance, which our ordinance 89 outlines those requirements. We also have to monitor and enforce site permits, construction and projects in town. Our own infrastructure inspection plan, which we go out to the different storm sewer system outfalls and ponds and inspect 20% of those each year. Street sweeping, perform a robust street sweeping program. Spring cleanup, clean out pollution control structures. There's a number of structures that are intended to catch debris and sediment that we need to clean out each year. And then we also need to report to the MPCA our yearly activities. So some of the projects completed in 2024 or late 2023 and 2024, repaired catch basins in the town, cleaned out our sediment control structures, cleaned culverts, repaired catch basins with our 2024 street improvement projects, and also cleaned out ponds with those projects. And so we have a number of things upcoming for 2025 and beyond that are listed in your report. I won't go through all of them, but our 2025 projects will have stormwater improvement items. We'll have some ditch cleaning, some other pond cleaning, and the Bel Air Beach stormwater pond that we're working on. And so then we also, I'd also like to just to generally take this opportunity to speak to the public at the meeting and both online to, everyone can do their part to improve our stormwater system. I go through this every year, a number of items that we can all do that live in the township. One is reduce your impervious surface area, your hard surface area. Car maintenance, make sure your car is not leaking fluids. Wash your car in a lawn or at a commercial car wash, so those chemicals don't go down the drains. Reduce our chemicals, reduce our salt use. Maybe even if you have salted your sidewalk, if it's dry, maybe sweep up that salt and maybe reuse it for the next event. Keep your drains cleaned. Don't dump your yard waste into our wetland areas. Sweep up your grass clippings after you mow, and pick up after your pets. So at this point, we open it to the public. If there's comments about our stormwater program, we take those comments and we document those and also submit those to the MPCA as a part of our permit. So I'll turn it back over to the board for.
Okay, well, before I open up for the public, does the board have any questions of Larry?
This summer, when we had heavy rains, Mead Park flooded. Is that just kind of lumped into one of these where they had to do some storm drain cleanouts?
Yeah, I don't know specifically that, but
Well, apparently things were plugged up over there. It's been a long time since that particular park was dealt with, but it was clean so that the storm water flowed evenly and quickly. So that would be included,
Yeah.
maintenance?
I don't have that specifically, but, any type of cleaning is just general in our,
And then the 2025 projects as listed there, you go, the pond cleaning, mini projects to be determined, that's at an as-needed basis, basically?
yes, so we've started to study our 2025 improvement projects, and we'll work with Public Works to see what stormwater drainage systems need to be repaired, need to be cleaned out, and, we'll come back to you as a part of the feasibility report and the plans as we learn more about what needs to happen with those 2025 projects.
Okay.
With all the water this spring, did we find any new problem areas?
I imagine that. I didn't get a specific report on specific areas, but
I don't have anything else.
One last question. On the Bel Air Beach storm pond and conveyance improvement there, that's the property that town purchased
yes.
on the South Shore Boulevard in Bel Air?
Yes, there's two improvements there. There's the parcel that the town owns, and then there's the park itself.
Both sides.
So there's going to be other improvements within the park too. We're woefully short in that area of treatment, and so both that parcel and the park parcel would be used for improvements for our stormwater.
Ramsey County started as part of that reconstruction project down there to do some. This is in addition to what
Yes.
they have done. Okay. All right.
Well, this time of the year, especially with leaves coming down, this is a part of the grass clipping things. These leaves get into the street, and then they're down to the gutters, and then they're down into our storm. So you got to really be aware of that when you're not blowing leaves out on the road. So it's running down the. Now, obviously, we haven't had any rain for a month, so that's helped us control that a little bit. But that's part of that illicit discharge. We try to keep it out of our storm sewers. All that does, it goes in, and then it slows down the treatment of those ponds. All right, if there's no other questions of the board, I would look for a motion to open up for public comment.
I'll move to open the public comment portion of the hearing.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, if there's anybody who wishes to speak to this hot topic of pond water, I need you to come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Colleen Cowell, 2557 Bluebill Circle. And we've been there since 2000. And we've never had a pond on any of our property, but now we do. When it rains, we have a big pond that isn't going down whatever big drain thing they put in. So it just sits on our property. And we're just worried about too much water on the side of our property.
Are you familiar with that spot, Larry?
I'm not. Something we'll have to look into.
Well, I was
Yeah.
going to say, it's something we should contact Public Works to have a take a look at.
Yeah, well, they were just there, did the grates and stuff for all of the ponds, which looks really nice, but I walk, so every day I saw somebody and I said, have you looked at ours yet? And they hadn't done anything about it because it wasn't on the plans. But I just said, a lot of two or three of the neighbors behind us have put fences up, and they have used concrete. So I'm thinking that this big, huge, what did it call those? Craig, help me out.
Berm?
Yeah, the drain thing isn't being utilized. There's nothing going beyond that.
Well, what we could do is have Dale from Public Works at least come out and take another look, because sometimes if somebody does work to an adjoining property and they alter the drainage, that will affect water standing on your property.
Right,
So we
yeah.
want to make sure if somebody's not doing something illegal.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing it illegal, but I'm just thinking that their edge of their property is probably right where that big pipe was put in.
Is that water dried up now?
What's that?
Did the water dry up now?
Oh, it sure has.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, everywhere, other than where the sprinkler truck put some water in some of the drains.
What was the address again?
2557 Bluebill Circle.
Got it.
We're right at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Because this was an exceptionally rainy summer. Did it happen last year?
Oh, yes, we've had the pond there till just it got so dry.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
we
and
we
like
can
I
have,
said, I'm just worried about it progressing to be a problem for us. We have, walkout basement in that area. So just checking on that.
all right, we'll have Dale from Public Works take a look at it for you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none, going once, going twice. All right, I need a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
I'll move to close the public portion of the hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, if there's no more comments or from staff, this requires what, a motion for, let me find it here, something's going on.
Just got to receive
Just
it.
a motion to receive the presentation? Is that right, Larry?
Yeah.
Could make that motion.
I'll second that.
All right, motion made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, we're gonna jump up to,
Probably.
got it? Improvement 2023 Parkview Court Street improvements. Again, this is a public hearing, so I need a motion to waive the reading.
I'll move to waive the reading that was properly published.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, Larry, you gonna go over this one? Oh, I need a motion to open the public,
Oh,
I'll move to
do the
open the,
presentation first, or?
no, we need it to open the public, just the meeting.
I'll move to open the public hearing.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, Larry, now you're on.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair and Town Board. I'm looking to try to get the system up. It was working right before the meeting. Lisa, in the back, can we put up the slide, the presentation?
Go get her. There you go. Larry.
Oh,
It's not on both of them?
She's working.
Not yet.
High tech's great when it works.
If somebody wants, there is one chair up in front here. Right up in the very front.
Here we go.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Town Board. I have a short presentation on this project. It's the Parkview Court Street Improvements Project, and you see a map there of that roadway. Okay. All right, Parkview Court, just a reminder, is just a short roadway, a short cul-de-sac, 0.2 miles long in length. On this project, we did our reclamation project, but the concrete curb and gutter was degraded to such an extent that we had to replace all the concrete curb and gutter on this project, which required, some additional improvements to make that fit in and improve the drainage. Here's some photos of that area. You can see a picture of the curb and gutter here in the corner. The asphalt was quite thin as well. And then there are some pictures of the street. I got some construction photos of the work, including the milling of the reclaiming of the roadway, grinding that bituminous and mixing it with the underlying aggregate to provide a new base for the road. You can see some of the paving pictures there. New curb and gutter, I got a photograph of that. And then to get the tie-in, we had to do some curb or some driveway work to make that fit right and improve that drainage in there. So here's a couple of photographs of the final product, the new roadway. And I just wanted to take this opportunity for those that are in Parkview Court to look at the next steps. And so the contractor has completed the project, substantially completed the project, but we know there's might be some cleanup out there, or we call it punch list work. If there's something on the list that needs to be addressed, if there's a irrigation issue or a restoration issue, driveway issue, we like to take care of that. We put it on a list and address it. And then if you do have items that you see on your yards in Parkview Court, please call our project inspector, Sarah. You might have seen her out on the job. And her number is, if you don't already have it, 651-440-1119. And she can look at your issue and work with the contractor to address it. So to protect these streets, we've invested quite a bit of money on these streets. And so to protect that, we will be doing a chip seal in about 3 years, 2 to 3 years. That seals off the new bituminous. We can't do it right away, but within 2 to 3 years, we'll put a chip seal down and seal off that road, and it helps protect that roadway to last longer. So I want to take this opportunity to mention that to you, so you're not surprised that in 3 years, they just did the street. Why are they out here again? But we do that to protect the roadway, and we'll also do it again probably at year 8 or year 10. We'll look at it and probably do another chip seal at that point. All right, so we'll get into some of the finances, but I first want to talk about the process for this project. In accordance with state statute, we need to follow a very specific process in order to assess for these improvements, including the feasibility study, the public hearing that was held. We do a number of other meetings in between. And then tonight we have the assessment hearing, and the final step would be to adopt that assessment amount. So getting to the project cost for the construction contract for the contractor, we're projecting, and we've got good numbers now. The project is substantially complete. $410,000 for the construction work. We have other expenses on the project, including engineering, inspection, survey, staking, administrative costs, interest costs, appraisal costs, soil borings, and other miscellaneous items. So assessments are proposed to be assessed to the benefiting properties, and we follow the town's assessment policy for that, and we assess each lot equally, one unit each. And if you're on a corner lot, each unit for each improved side of that lot is assessed a half a unit. So if you're on a corner lot and you have two sides improved, you have half on one road and half on the other to equal 1. Historically, the town has assessed all the costs for these types of projects, but we, as the costs of improvements have escalated over the past 20 years, we can't assess that amount. We can't assess that full amount. We have to assess what is the benefit received. So the statute is clear that we can only assess up to the amount that is benefiting the property, meaning the value of your property before the project is improved and the value is increased by X amount. And so that's the amount that we can't exceed per statute. We check that amount by doing appraisals on these types of projects. And in this case, benefit, I didn't update my slide. The benefit for this project was $11,000 per unit. So these are the properties on the that are to be assessed for this project. The assessment map kind of shows each parcel, and in this case, all parcels are assessed the 1 unit each. Okay, this slide has it correct. So the overall project cost now, including the construction costs and all the indirect costs or administrative costs, $544,400. Of those costs, some of those costs are stormwater costs or water main costs that aren't part of the assessable amount, but the assessable amount for the project is $445,000. We have 20 assessable units on this project, and the assessment rate we're proposing or recommending to the board is $11,000. And so with the assessments, that amount, 11,000 times 20 units is $220,000 of the total amount it would be assessed. The assessment term is 10 years, meaning if you do not pay off or pay down that assessment, it goes on your taxes for a period of 10 years. And the interest rate in this case is 6%. So I have a little schedule here of what that would look like on your taxes. If you allow all of it to go on your taxes, the principal is equal each year. Each of the 10 years, it's 1,100, and then the interest rate or the interest amount reduces over the years as you pay off principal. If that makes any sense. So the first year you're paying a little more, and then it goes down from there. That first year interest includes interest from the date of this hearing to the end of the year plus all of next year. So that's why that first year has a little more interest than the other years. And I can bring up this slide again if people have questions. So these are all the funding sources for the project, including, the water fund, the stormwater fund, sanitary fund had a piece, the assessment amount or assessment total, and then the rest is picked up by the township's levy and township funds. Our original cost projection for this project was $659,700. So at this point, we would ask the board to hold the public assessment hearing and adopt a resolution confirming the assessment amount that we've recommended or a different amount. For this case, we need a supermajority, 4/5 vote. So in this case, with only 3 board members, all 3 need to vote in favor of that assessment amount. And I'd like to turn it over to our town attorney to talk through the assessment protocol. If you do want to appeal that assessment, you need to do that in writing before the opening.
Correct. Now, there will be a public hearing. You'll have the right to inform the board what you think of the assessment. But if you, okay, I'll talk louder. Okay. You have the right to appeal the assessment. However, there's a procedure that you have to follow. And if you don't follow the procedure, then your appeal would be denied by the courts. What you have to do before the board takes a vote, you have to, in writing, object to the assessment. So basically, what you need to do is you need to provide information about your property, at least the property address, and simply state, I formally object to the assessment. You don't need to say why, just need that you formally object to it. You need to date it and you need to sign it. And you have to hand it to us over here. Hand it to Pat Christofferson. You could hand it to the board, but you might as well put it over here. But you have to do that before the board actually votes on the assessment. This is important. Now, the next step, if you do appeal the assessment and the board, okay, first, if you do file your objection and the board still adopts the assessment, you then have to appeal that assessment. And that appeal is a formal document, a formal appeal. You have to serve that appeal on the town clerk within 30 days of the date the assessment is adopted, which means 30 days from today's date. You also, within that 30 days, have to file that appeal with district court. And you can't file the appeal with district court until you first serve the township. So this is important. Everything I'm describing is called jurisdictional, which means if you don't follow that procedure, then your appeal should be denied on the basis of jurisdiction. It has nothing to do with whether it's proper or whether it's a valid objection. It has to do with jurisdiction. The courts don't have jurisdiction unless you follow that procedure. But so just go over it again. If you want to object to your assessment, before the board takes a vote, you have to file a formal written objection. Simply state, I hereby object to the assessment identify your property address will be satisfactory. If you have the legal description, that'd be great. With the tax identification number, that's fine. But as long as you have the address, we'll accept it. And you have to date it, you have to sign it. And that has to be delivered to either Patrick or to the board before the board takes that vote. Okay? Does anyone have a question about the procedure at all?
And I'll get this moving around the room before we start discussing it here. So.
And if I sound heavy-handed, I apologize, but this is jurisdictional. It has to be followed this way. The statute says so. Yes? Oh, I will have to tell you, historically, no one's actually, okay, no. I want to put this right, because I do not want to pour cold water over any objection. But the objections that have been filed in the past in the township, no one's actually ever appealed their assessment. So they've taken the first step, but they never taken the second step.
Well, maybe I can help you out here, Chad. What'll happen is you're going to have to go out and pay for your own appraisal, because usually you feel that our appraisal doesn't justify the $11,000. So now you got to get your own appraisal, and usually you don't go to court without an attorney. So you'll have appraisal costs and attorney costs. Now, if you take those costs off the 11, even if you get it knocked down $2,000, you may spend that in expenses. That's usually why no one pursues it, because there's an extra cost for you to fight it. So if you can prove that 11,000 is too much in court, but then it's also going to cost you that. So
Ethically, I can't tell you not to do it because I represent the town to be a conflict of interest. But what the board chair just described is pretty accurate. It's expensive.
But that's also why we go out and find a very valid appraisal company to appraise all these properties. And they do it as a blanket, but just so we make sure that we're not exceeding the value of what that job is. So we try to do our due diligence on this to keep it
And
within rein.
one other point, the town is one of the few municipalities that actually does do appraisals. There's no statutory requirement that you actually go out and have the properties appraised before the assessment is adopted. It's just good practice, and the town has followed that for every assessment.
All right. Does the board have any questions of Larry before I open it up for the public?
You know, we've sat through this project for a number of meetings already, and in our work committee meetings, I have no questions.
I have none.
Just maybe one, Larry. How did we do on the bidding compared to what what you folks had for a price?
Yeah.
I know we had some favorable bidding, but
Overall, the project cost came down about 100,000
okay.
from when we studied it. And that's not always the case on these. We got some good bids.
All right. All right. If the board has no other questions of staff, I look for a motion to open it up for public
Mr.
comment.
Chair, one other point. By the way, if you have already filed an objection, you don't need to file it again. Because the law is you file the objection either before the meeting or at the meeting. So if you've already done it once, don't need to do it again. Okay?
I'm going to pass around a sign-up sheet that at the top says, I object to the assessment for improvement 2023-3 Parkview. Date, name, address, and signature lines are provided for you. Just pass it around the room, and if this applies to you, have at it.
Yeah, this is just for Parkview, so I know Mallard Ponds is on this. All right, I need a motion to open up for public comment.
I'll move to open the hearing up for public comment.
Second?
Motion made, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, if you're here for the Parkview one, you have to come up to the podium, state your name and address. If you have any questions of Larry or staff or, yep, come on up.
I'm David Becker from 2593 Parkview Court. I wasn't here from most of the summer, so I didn't see the bad spots, and when I drove in, the place looked beautiful. However, we had our internet on vacation hold, and on the trip back, 2 days, my wife called CenturyLink and told me to put it back in service. We got home and it was not in service. So back to trying to get a hold of CenturyLink again, which I'm sure a lot of people know the same problem. However, the guy finally came out, the technician, trying to see why we didn't have internet. He was out there quite a while, back and forth, back and forth. I finally went out and said, "What's the problem?" He says, "We got power over here where it's supposed to be. We don't have power in the house." So I said, "What are you going to do?" And he said, "Well, I'll have to report it to CenturyLink." So I says, "Well, you got the boom truck here." I says, "Can you reach the trees with the boom truck and run a wire through the treetops to get to my connection?" Which he did, and it works. So I called the townhouse, and I talked to 3 people there, or I didn't talk to them, but I was passed along. The last guy said I should talk to Sarah. After a number of phone calls, I got a hold of Sarah, and she said that, I thought she was going to be here tonight, but she said that she'd get a hold of the contractor and have him get a hold of CenturyLink, and they would have to work it out. So from my standpoint, the project isn't done yet. I don't have, the internet under the ground or wherever it's supposed to be.
Well,
So that's what I
part of the
want to.
problem when we have, private contractors, that's a little bit out of the scope of our road work. But is your internet connection, is it buried? Is the cable buried normally?
It must have been before, and that's what the guy said. He thought that maybe they had cut the cable when they, were doing the street. And I said, "Well, you better not dig up that street, or you'll have a lot of people out there with shotguns because it looks pretty nice."
So this is one of those items that we call it, put on the punch list.
Yeah, I
List of
wasn't-
things to be completed.
We weren't in town through the summer construction, so if it would have happened then, we could have reported it then.
Right. Is it just your home or is it
Just my home. I don't think
what's
anybody
your
else.
service line? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll add it to our list of items on the project and we'll get it looked at.
Well,
It
can
sounds like
I
there's a
push my
problem.
assessment back until I've got it complete?
We have a time frame we need to certify to get to the county, to get on the taxes for next year. So we don't have the luxury of delaying the adoption at this point because we need to provide that to the county to
Yeah.
get
Well,
on
I
the taxes.
just hate to pay for something that I haven't got.
Well, the procedure is statutory, and as Larry just stated, once it's adopted, then it has to be filed with the county. Plus, it also starts the time frame in which you can pay the assessment without any incurring any interest. This is all statutory, and there's once the hearing is held, that clock starts running.
But it does sound like you have a problem from your house to the actual connection at the road. It's not probably going to be under the road.
Yes, that's where it's at, because
Right.
you got power at the connection, but no power at the house.
I know CenturyLink is tough to deal with. I would think that they would at least come out and drop a cable on the ground and find time to bury it later to at least get you up and running.
I would think they do it now before it freezes.
Well, again, that'll be your battle with CenturyLink.
Yeah. CenturyLink is also running fiber optics out that direction, so they may be some delay, only from the standpoint that they're trying to push their fiber optics. In fact, one of the consent agenda items was to put in fiber optic approval for,
Like I say, I got no
Quantum,
problem with the
which is
assessment. I
CenturyLink.
just
Yeah, no,
don't like
it's
to pay it
valid.
before I get my money's worth. Because it's a lot of money.
yeah.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, David.
Hello, I'm Kathleen Odegaard, 2568 Parkview Court. And I just want to get some clarification, please. In the meeting that you held on January 11th, and you mentioned the overall street cost of $659,000, there was also an overall accessible cost of $642,000 in that document. And the preliminary unit assessment was $11,000 then. Being the fact that the project came in overall at almost, close to $200,000 difference, I'm wondering why our assessment is the same versus the overall project going down by by such an amount, because in essence, then we're paying for close to 50% of the project. And I believe the legal requirement is at least 20% has to be covered by assessments, but that's a huge difference, 20 to 50.
Take that.
Yeah.
So yes, you're correct. There was some savings from the initial study, and that assessment amount hasn't changed. We're not proposing a change, and really we are coming back to the statute that talks about assessing the benefit of the project, and so that the town's assessment policy is really to capture the entire as much benefit as we can, because historically the town has, before the costs have risen, they were assessing 100% of those costs. And so historically we've been ranging, based on that benefit amount, ranging between 40 and 70% on projects, depending on how they come in for bids. So we just we got a good bid in this case, and that's where that amount doesn't change, because we're assessing to that benefit, not necessarily the cost.
So really, they're not tied, in
They're
essence.
not tied unless the board would choose to want to reduce your assessment amount because of the savings that we are seeing. That's up to the board, but we're recommending in accordance with the assessment policy to assess the amount of benefit.
And so, just so I understand, the 11,000 we're paying because it's assumed that we will see a benefit of 11,000 on our property value, but then our taxes will also go up as a result of that. So really, we're being double dipped, right?
Yeah, actually, the constitutional principle is that you cannot be assessed for more than the benefit you receive. Whether you're taxed for real estate tax purposes higher is not an issue. The issue is, did you receive a benefit in terms of increased value that equals or exceeds the amount of the assessment? That's the constitutional test.
Okay,
So that's the test we're following.
okay.
And I make a comment, just in the last 2 weeks, the Ramsey County assessor has been coming around, and he wants everybody to know that the tax assessments or your tax levy is based on market value. So if our assessor says that it's an increased market value, whether it's equal for every house, it's different. But that's where the tax thing comes in. You're paying based on market value.
Okay, thank you.
But I understand your point.
Yes, believe me.
Well, Larry, explain to me the difference, the 200, I asked you, you said it was 100. So where was the other?
Yeah, I can go back to that. That slide, we had a total project cost of $544,000, and our original project estimate was $659,000.
All right, that was 110.
Yeah.
So there was no additional TKD expense or with getting that better bid?
Nope.
Okay. All right, anybody else from the Parkview side?
Okay.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, my name is Rolf Parsons. I live at 2576 Parkview Court. First of all, I think most of my neighbors would agree with me that you guys just did an outstanding job on this project. We're very, very pleased with the final result. And in terms of executing what you said you were going to do, it's just top notch. I just have a question I'm hoping you can help me with to understand a little bit. On paying the assessment over 10 years, I believe I understood the letter to say that we either had the option of paying the full amount immediately within 30 days, or we would be paying it over 10 years and no opportunity to pay it off midstream. Is that essentially correct? No.
No.
You can pay it off midstream if you want. Oh, we can. Okay, that I think was misstated in your letter then.
you basically have a couple of options right away. You can pay it off within 30 days with no interest. So you could pay off the full $11,000, no interest. If you don't have $11,000 laying around, but let's just say you have $5,000, you can pay it down. You could pay us the $5,000, we'd only assess $6,000 and put it onto the taxes. Then any year thereafter, you can pay off the balance to the county. You no longer have an option, if you pay, let's just say 2 years worth, and in 2026 you got some extra cash, you can't pay a partial at that point. You do have to pay the full thing.
Pay the full amount, but not a
To the
partial.
county.
Okay.
And so once it starts going on your taxes, we can no longer collect it, the county has to.
Okay.
And, but at least within that 30 days, you have the option of paying the full thing or part of it.
Okay. But to say it back, 5 years from now, I could pay off the remainder at one time,
Correct.
as would be the case if I sold the property anyway.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, if you sell the property, more than likely for whoever's buying the property to get a loan, the bank's going to make you.
Right. We understand.
You can negotiate it, but
it. Thank you.
chances are the bank will get paid off so that they're first in line if default.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, anyone else? Must be a lot of Mallard Pond people here.
Mr. Chair, has everybody had a chance to sign on this? It's been around the room? For Parkview? Okay. All right.
All right, hearing no other comments, I would look for a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
I'll move to close the public portion of this hearing.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, does the board have anything else? Ask Larry, or what's the board's pleasure?
Well, based on the assessor's benefit, the assessment that is noted, I think, is what's going to be assessed, in my opinion.
Well, we need a
So I move to
formal motion.
move formal motion to accept the assessment amount of $11,000 for project 2023-3 Parkview Court Street Improvement Project.
I'll second that.
All right, motion made second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Now we're going to go on to Mallard Ponds. Again, I need a motion to waive the reading.
I'll move to waive the reading that it was properly published.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Then I need a motion to open up the public hearing.
I'll move to open the public portion of the hearing.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Larry.
Right, thank you, Mr. Chair and Town Board. This Mallard Ponds Area Street Improvement Project is in a similar area located off of Portland Avenue. Includes the streets you see on your screen on the aerial there. Includes these street names, and it was a total of 2.6 mile project, so a much larger project for construction. And then this was a reclamation project. The curb and gutter was repaired in areas and spot areas and improved for drainage. You can see some of the pictures here of the street conditions, some of the curb damage, and the bituminous core had some deterioration, if you can see it. So a reclamation was performed. Here's some construction photos. We did add some stormwater structures out there to improve the drainage. I know we had some larger lengths of curb than we normally see on these types of projects that we needed to install to promote better drainage in the area. So you can see some of those stretches here in the construction photos. This picture is where we're working at a driveway, but matching into an existing curb. So it's somewhat of a mixture of existing curb and new curb. They, in this case, did the reclamation. They kept the streets paved for most of the project and did the reclamation after they completed the curb work. And so, and we also, the contractor did a good job of kind of dividing the project in half, and the west half was performed first, and then they moved to the eastern half, so everyone wasn't disturbed all summer. Here's some photos of the reclamation process similar to the last project. The reclamation process, again, grinds that bituminous, mixes it into the existing gravel to provide a new base for the roadway. Some excess is removed. This is showing where before they remove the excess. So they pave, obviously. And then here's some photos of the final work. Again, the project seemed to go pretty well. There are some additional cleanup items like the last project, some punch list work. I know this project went a little longer because it was a larger project, so it finished a bit after the Parkview project. But if you do have concerns or for your yard or your driveway or the curb, again, I'll give Sarah's number. Sarah kind of managed both these projects. She did get some help from another inspector on this project for coverage. But Sarah's number is 651-440-1198. If you do have some concerns, please give her a call. Again, we're looking to cap these streets and protect them. So down the road, 2 or 3 years, we'll be performing a chip seal in this neighborhood to seal off that surface. This slide is exactly the same as the last project, so we do our process, our due diligence in accordance with statute. And I didn't mention that the red items are staff items. The blue is public engagement with the residents, and then the green is town board steps that they need to do to make this project move forward. So on this project, we're projecting a total cost of, and we got good numbers now with everything done, but there's always some residual, but we're projecting $3.1 million for the project. Most of that, of course, construction. We have the same kind of engineering inspection, staking, surveying, items, administration, interest costs, soil borings, televising, and delineations, and appraisal. And so again, this slide is similar. All benefiting properties on the project are proposed to be assessed. Each lot is assessed 1 unit each. Corner lots, again, at half unit for each improved side. We do have some units in here that are on those corners with Portland Avenue, and they are assessed a half a unit. We do have some subdividable property on this project that is assessed multiple units. And then we have a township parcel on this project that is assessed 3 units. Oh, here's the map showing that. Here's the township parcel. Here's a couple of lots that are subdividable. And then we have some corner lots up by Portland that are assessed the half unit in accordance with the township policy. So on this project, the final cost, $3.1 million. Of that, we have our other funding sources that are used to fund the sanitary work, the water main work, the storm sewer work. But the assessable amount that we've determined for this project, $2.7 million. And when you count up all the units on this project, we have 239 units. At that $8,000 rate, $1.9 million for the assessment amount. And again, this is a 10-year assessment and the same interest rate as the previous project. Here's the payment schedule for the $8,000 assessment. Again, that's equal principal, $800 per month or per year, and then the interest drops as you pay off the principal. And so these are all the funding sources. So the township funds $768,000. Assessments, 1.9 million. And then you see the pieces from the water fund, the storm sewer fund, and the sanitary utility fund to make up the cost. And on this project, we had the original project estimate of 4.118 million. And so we are about $1 million lower than our original estimate. So again, really good pricing this year. So yeah, the same actions tonight, hold the assessment hearing and adopt or confirm this assessment amount tonight. And again, the supermajority is needed for this approval.
And again, I know you heard it already, but I'll need to repeat, because I want to be fair. If you want to object to the assessment, you have to file a formal written objection tonight. And again, all it requires is date, name, property address, and that you are formally objecting. As long as you do that, you're fine. But you have to do that before the board takes a vote. And again, if you've already filed a written objection with the township, dropped it off at town hall, you don't need to do it again. You only have to do it once.
This has gone around the room and we've got,
Okay, I see, yeah. And if you do object and the assessment is adopted, you have 30 days from the date of the objection to file an appeal with you file it with the town, serve the town clerk, and then within that 30-day period, you have to file that appeal with district court. Failure to follow any of those procedures is a jurisdictional defect which would result in your appeal being dismissed. So, and I would not advise you try to do that yourself. There's a lot of good attorneys around here that could handle it, help you out with it. But if you want to try it yourself, go right ahead. There's nothing to stop you. Just that the procedure is not, it sounds easy, but the mechanics aren't.
All right, does the board have any questions of Larry?
No, I do not.
Tom?
No questions.
All right, I need a motion to open up the public portion of the,
I'll move to open the public comment portion of the hearing.
Second?
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, again, if you want to make comment, question, you got to come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. I was going to say, wow, Larry, you did a good job, don't you?
Bob Fagerlund, 5913 Pintail Lane. I'm curious on the chip seal in 3 years. Is that another assessable event, or does that fall under maintenance?
That falls under maintenance. I meant to mention that. That falls under maintenance, so that's not assessment.
Okay. And the 30-day to pay, is that effective at adoption tonight, or when does that clock officially?
The clock starts tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. Thank you.
And Larry, just to be clear, you're talking about, that's just the tar and gravel coating?
Yeah, they're chips that
Right,
embed into the pavement. Yep.
okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of a recent change in the last few years, which found to make the roads last longer.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Mike McReynolds. I'm a resident on Mallard Ponds. I have a couple questions, particularly to Mr. Lemons, I believe, here on the benefit to the property. How is that? Is that determined just straight from the aggregation of the cost divided by the number of parcels involved?
No, actually, the benefit is strictly independent of the cost. It's determined by how much did the value of the property increase based on the improvement made. I mean, an improvement could cost $30,000, but only benefit the property to the extent of $10,000 because that's the increase in value. So it's strictly what the increase in value is. As the cost is not a factor at all. And again, the standard practice is if anyone who appeals it, the town will hire an appraiser, you will hire an appraiser, and they will give testimony as to how much the increase in value this project, was the result of this project.
Okay. The other question I have, obviously it looks impressive to see that the original projected cost was $4 million, and it was, the actual cost was $1 million left, 3,124,000. That seems like a rather, we're talking 25%. Well, how does that happen that the
reason for that.
estimates are that far off?
There's a reason for that. The assessment before a project is undertaken and before the board decides to even assess a project, you have to have a feasibility study done. And you cannot assess for more than that cost determined by the feasibility study. So for example, if the feasibility study lowballed the amount and turned out, let's say, just do some numbers. Let's say the feasibility study said the cost only $2 million, and the initial pending assess was based on that $2 million. It turns out the project actually cost $3 million. That $1 million difference has to be paid by the township. So that's why figures are always conservative, because that's a ceiling. You can't, that ceiling is it. And if you go above it, that's not the
Okay, so
homeowner's
when
problem.
those estimates are made, they're made on the high side to protect the county or the township from having to pick up any.
Larry can probably give you more detail on that, but that's the basic legal reason why it should be conservative, because it does set a ceiling as to how much can be assessed.
Okay. And those of us who might sign the desire to appeal today on that sheet that's passed around, we can choose not to appeal.
Oh, sure.
And then there's no cost or anything to that. But by signing it, it's protecting our rights.
Exactly. You're just covering your bases.
Yeah.
And you don't have to if you don't want to.
Okay.
And I think if there's no follow-up, it stops.
Again, that 30-day period, that's statutory. That's strict. You've got
Right.
to file your appeal. So you have to serve your appeal on the township and then file with district court within that 30-day period.
Right.
And the order is exactly that. Serve the township first and then file the appeal.
Yeah. Okay.
And like that, usually our engineers are pretty close. A lot of times when the economy is bad, guys are bidding high or we don't get a lot of bids. So, and that keeps the price up. This year, I think guys were looking for work. They were hungry. So that, obviously the bidding reflects that. I mean, some of our bids were coming in where the engineer had posted that number. So, guys are out there and they're pretty savvy on engineering and what they cost. So the guys that are coming in under, it's just an advantage for the town. Because that difference is spread out across the whole township. And we started doing that, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, but that was only fair because the price of everything is so expensive now, we can't assess you for that amount. So we literally made the board's made the mission to keep that assessment 50 or under, and then we bond or borrow to pay that extra. And then that gets spread across the rest of the residents. Because obviously everybody in the town benefits from good roads, so.
Okay, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Mike. Anyone else?
Ron Hoffman, 5904 Bayberry. Just a comment. I don't know if it's true or not, but we used to have at our entrances a little area surrounded for bushes and flowers and stuff. And what I read in the White Bear Press is you guys got 3 people saying we didn't want it, so you didn't do it. When the rest of us, or most of us, wanted it. Why would you change something?
Well, I think we have a representative from the press. I think it was 3 people who did want them, not didn't want them.
Well, we never got asked, so how would you get the people? We just assumed they were going to be replaced.
Usually, I think Larry can explain it, but all the decisions that were made on this project were done with neighborhood meetings. All the plans and stuff were brought to the neighborhood meetings. So usually, if you were at the meetings, you would have known if there was something changing or what we were going to do.
Okay. Well, I would suggest you put out a flyer to everybody so they get everybody's vote on it.
We did send out questionnaires for this project, and we didn't ask that specific question,
Yep.
but that was some of the comments we received, so we started thinking about it, and then we also heard additional comments during our neighborhood meeting, so we're like, okay, well, maybe we should look at this.
Somebody at one of the meetings that said she was the only one that took care of one of them, so she didn't care if they went away, because she was the only one that ever did anything.
Okay, well, if you're going to have a comment, I'm going to need you to come up because we're not going to pick it up with the microphones. All right, anyone else?
My name's Larry Clark. I live at 5924 Red Pine Boulevard. And I just got a couple of questions. On your mail-out thing, you said that North Valley was awarded the bid at $2.8 million, but that slide you showed more. And my other question was, it looks like you use this company on other projects. Was North Valley the lowest bid for Mallard Ponds? Did you receive any lower bids?
No,
No.
we took the lowest bid.
Because when I called, I had some issues, and they said they went with North Valley. It wasn't the lowest, but it was competitive.
Yes, we take competitive bids for both these projects. And by statute, we have to select the lowest responsible bidder. And in both these cases, we used the lowest responsible bidder. So for Parkview it was Miller Excavating, and then for Mallard Ponds it was North Valley.
So the other
So they were the
bidders,
low bids.
so the other bidders were lower, but they're not responsible folks.
So we evaluate the low bid and whether they're responsible or not. And in this case, the low bids were responsible and met the statute for awarding.
Okay, so you're kind of covering the township by doing that.
Only because, too, you have to make sure that they're covering all the scope of the work. A lot of times, contracts will miss something, and they're low because they missed something. That's why we review a low bid even.
Sure. Yeah, I know it needs to be done, but it's just, timing. Everything's expensive nowadays. Groceries are up, and now with the assessment stuff, people's living paycheck to paycheck, and now they kind of come up with, $8,000 or whatever before Christmas, or take it up in payments. I don't know. I just think it could have been planned a little better, but that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Larry. Anyone else?
I make one comment on the last point. Just so you understand, there is a statute that deals with how municipalities enter into contracts, and you have to follow that statutory procedure, and that's what was done in this case. And the statute is quite clear what the township is supposed to do and how they're supposed to handle contracts. And Larry described exactly what the statute requires.
And in both these cases, the low bid was they were responsible bidders, so the low bids were selected.
Your chance to shine for the cameras.
No, I'm not usually shy. Dee Dee Petrozewski, 5948 Polar Bear Lane. Just another question on the, so if you say you pay a small portion of now before November 22nd or whatever it is, and then you want to pay in 5 years, do you pay the remaining balance, so you're still getting charged the 6%? Is that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, you'd alleviate that interest if you paid it off early, but yeah.
So you'd cut it off before you would have to pay the full.
Right.
Okay. And then just a side note, but it looks great, but is there any way the curbs, where you put new curbs in, is there any way you could put like a painting to make it all look new? Because it's kind of crazy that it looks nice. The concrete slabs they fixed, it takes away from the look of the new street, my opinion, but.
Okay, Larry, what do you got?
Yeah.
Not a
Just
product
some kind of a covering to make it look new. I know we asked the worker guys, they didn't know, but I know it'd be a hassle, but to have such a nice project and then have it look kind of half-assed.
Yeah, a power wash might be something to do that. I don't know.
Well, it's the whole neighbor. I mean, it's other than that one section everybody was done, but just thought I'd ask.
All right, we're going to throw that in front of Public Works, see what they think of that.
Are you going to ask them?
No.
I'll ask. No. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Hearing none, I'm going to look for a motion to close the public comment portion.
I'll move to close the public comment portion of the hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, what's the board's pleasure, unless there's any other questions or comments?
Last chance, if to sign the paper?
Right here.
Does anyone else, they have to do it now, otherwise, that's it.
Well, Mr. Chair, again, you know, this project has been analyzed, and from my perspective, we've done our due diligence, we did a good project, we've got what we feel is the assessed benefit. I move to adopt the resolution and confirm the assessments for improvement 2023-2 for $8,000.
I'll second.
Motion made second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Thank you, folks. We appreciate it. The board really appreciates you guys' comments. We're very upfront with everything we do, and we like to see this kind of turnout.
Yes.
Steve doesn't, but.
Well, that's not fair. Absolutely. You know, as we've said in the past, these are not what we call real sexy projects, but they're necessary projects. We all like to drive on nice roads, and every person who lives in the township, sooner or later, is going to have to deal with the same issues you've dealt with. We're proud of the town we have, and we want to keep it in good shape. So appreciate your
All right. Come on up if you got something.
A question, can we get copies of this summary, this PowerPoint for our records?
Would you like, we can put it on the website?
Website somewhere, or?
Would you like us to put it on the website, or?
Sure. No problem.
All right, we can do it.
So does this just automatically get added to our property taxes then if we don't pay the full amount?
Well,
Yes.
30 days.
Come,
Okay.
come November, we'll send it into the county, and then the county will just start putting it on with next year's taxes.
All right, folks, we still have an agenda we got to work on here. We're going to move on to item 8A. This is a motion from Ramsey County.
Roger, you bet.
Where are we going here?
Nobody cares about County Road J.
Nobody, what?
I do.
Well, it's not their J, it's the other J.
A guy that works in our Mallard Ponds area, and every time I see him walk, I walk every day. I see him all the time, so he's my son now. He keeps asking to come for dinner.
Oh, my.
Wow,
But, I mean,
what are you having?
I said, well, usually it's Thanksgiving. But, yeah, they're all really nice.
Well, we try to be as open as possible and
And as far as
get all the information.
I had
Yeah. Get signed off on.
I didn't hear that, sorry.
just like to get them.
Yeah.
Really?
Before-
There's so many potholes, and I.
Oh, yeah, the street. Good timing.
No, that's why I said these are not sexy, I hate to use that word, but they are not sexy projects.
Bad practice is specialized practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With everything going on
I
this
wish we
year,
would've
I
had
told
it.
Pat,
Questionnaire, I
I
didn't
gotta
even
grow
think
my
about it.
hair out longer, so I got something to grab onto and pull out.
Well, I knew Dave Magnus.
It worked out pretty good.
Thank you for your input.
Yes. So you're in Mallard?
As you know, they're never easy.
So, yes, you get a chance to pay it up front, or it'll be put on your taxes and you'll pay it over a period of 10 years.
Yeah. Nice girl.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, this
Thank you.
amount will be over 10 years,
You guys
so
put in your
it's not
newsletter
8,000 obviously, but
that
it's,
everybody needs to watch, putting
Larry?
their grass clippings down the drains.
Yes.
We're custodians of our.
Did you have the yearly assessment?
Especially leaves.
No. Good luck with that.
We have that little section of Whitford Press called the News and Views. We normally put stuff like that in there, which I'll make,
Yeah,
Patrick puts it in there.
this is the first
But
time
I
I've
think
ever
we'll
had
just add it to the
residents
website
call
also.
up out of the blue and say, it's nice it's turned out. So throughout the summer, we've been out there just kind of checking it out.
The lawn care companies
I don't know
are
if
pretty
it
good.
could've
They
been
know
much
about
better,
it,
to be
but residents,
It goes on your tax.
big deal.
You don't have to pay, it just like.
Especially when the wind now, blowing leaves everywhere.
Oh, you got lucky too.
You'll pay it with your taxes.
No rain. They've really
10
been
years.
able to
This is that schedule.
close it out. make it
Starting in
straight.
2026. And
not
we're
so
saying
lucky.
now, you pay $800.
I've got those too.
Yes.
Thanks.
Right, well, thank you.
It's per year.
You graduated about
And those years are wrong. I noticed that when we forgot to change them.
Yeah, so this first year would be 2026.
Okay, you too.
No, it'll be 2020.
If you made the
Or 2025.
first year's payment, you mean, then you're paying.
2024.
No, you're only gonna
Pay
save 6% on that.
1,400 the first year, and then second year.
The 600 is until the whole thing amortized out. So if you're gonna pay just 800 off, the 600 is not gonna be the total interest saved. It's only gonna be 6% of 800.
You have a mortgage?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
then it'll just be included in your mortgage.
Over the whole
Yeah,
amortized.
yeah,
section.
yeah.
The interest is broken down over the 10 years. So that 600 is over the 10 years. So as you break down, so you're not gonna save 600 just by paying $800.
I was gonna say, the best person to sit down with is right there. He does this all the time, and he can walk you through. So if you wanted to pay off.
He's doing it right now on the.
Go to the
Yeah.
county or mail it to the county.
There you go.
And they'll, take it off, and then they send us the money. It's kind of a goofed up system. But just call the county. They'll let you know.
And I know you guys,
We've talked about that.
and then that's why we came again, because we're part of the Mallard Ponds, but also the garbage.
So you can bring that up during the
Open time, you can, it's coming up.
But they should be able to give you the amount.
All right.
And then if you pay it, they should be able to give you a receipt. Yeah. Right, right.
Yeah.
Right, so if you paid it off, let's just say right here,
Oh my God.
this interest, the last 3 years here would go away.
Enough.
Not yet.
Anything right now, and you wait until
He's not, doesn't live in that area.
it's set after the 30.
All right, we should move on and get done.
I know.
You'd pay
It's all
that
important.
Hey, Tom,
800 and the 600.
I was gonna say, maybe you could, so we can finish the meeting, maybe you can take them out that way.
I'd argue that it's all equal.
If you don't mind. How's that?
Good job.
Thank you.
Some people left church after communion, is all I'm saying.
Ow!
To each his own.
All right, let's continue. We have item 8A. This is the Ramsey County designation of roads.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and as you, and this is, I guess, I don't know if you call it upgrading, but it is discussing, I think we're just doing this declaration so that they can get appropriate funding for it, even though we don't see it.
Right. I did read the packet that Riley sent me, and basically what it is, they're just shifting, they're simply shifting road classifications for the purpose of budgetary issues in the county itself.
Yep.
And they're just seeking, basically, they simply want you to agree to, agree to the shifting.
This is an ongoing state return to county projects that they've been doing, returning state aid roads to make them county roads, and then they turn around and want to turn them into township roads, some of them.
So, yes.
Yeah.
But right now, this does not affect the budget of the township at the moment.
It's probably funding for the project,
Yeah, that's why-
redevelopment project.
Through the county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not us.
No.
Well, this
Allows them to shift money in their different statutory funds.
This also keeps us, I don't want to say safe, but they keep talking about us wanting to contribute to this project. Does this change our status with this?
No.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
This
No.
is strictly intra-county.
all right. Oh, you just want a formal motion to
Adopt the resolution.
adopt the resolution?
Adopt the resolution.
I'll move to adopt the resolution regarding county state aid highway designation for County Road J, CR 81, from Centerville Road, CSAH 59 to I-35E.
I will second.
All right, motion's made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that concludes our agenda. Now we have open time. So if anybody'd like to come on up, like I said, I need name and address for the record.
Ron Hoffman, 5904 Bayberry. Since my wife doesn't want to talk in public, I get to do this. Just a question on the garbage. I read it again in the White Bear Press. We're snowbirds, so we leave for 5-6 months, come back. The garbage we used to always put on hold, and then we'd not have to pay for it, and then we come back and bring it back up and everything. Is that some under contract, and can you put that back in because?
It's an ordinance now, right?
Is it an ordinance? I
Isn't it an
think
ordinance?
so.
Had it put into ordinance.
Yeah, but the ordinance was adopted based on the contract.
That's right.
So they're intertwined, but we'd have to get it. The ordinance does call, the present billing procedure does follow the ordinance, but the ordinance is based on the contract. So if the contract changes, we'll change the ordinance too. We have to do first step is to change the contract.
Yeah.
Then,
I mean, let's just say, the old time, we could always put it on hold. You guys sign a new contract, and their response to me was, you guys sign a new contract, and that ability to do that is no longer available. So you guys change something in your contract.
keep in mind, it's not as, we don't dictate the contract. It's negotiated.
But you can say what the.
And what we hear you, you're not the only one who has made this complaint. We are negotiating a new 2-year extension with them as we speak.
Okay.
And we have that introduced into the discussions right now.
All right, I just want to know that you're, at least it's an option.
We are talking about it, yes.
Okay, good, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, it starts with is it the Public Safety Commission that deals with? Utility Commission. So it's on the Utility Commission challenge.
To make a recommendation to the board to approve, so.
I mean, I used to be in the business world, and obviously they probably negotiated and said, hey, if we get rid of this, your rates will be a little bit less.
Yeah.
Well,
It would help a lot of people a little bit.
But your bill just doesn't pay for you. Your bill also subsidizes our park
Oh, I
dumpsters.
understand all that. And I mean, our water, we pay all year round, even though we don't use water.
You pay your property taxes all year round, you pay your insurance all around.
It's just, when you have something and it's taken away, you
Let's get it back.
realize.
I'd like to have it back.
Yeah.
I got you.
You got it. I understand completely.
And again, like I said, you're not a lone voice. I mean, we've heard it. We are working on it with them.
Sir, when you do the contract.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, Logan Guion, Gion for the record. 12599 Europa Avenue North. So I have
Logan, are you representing yourself or the White Bear Press?
I am representing. So I just actually had to take a class on ethics and journalism. So the first one, I am representing both myself and the press with a comment, and then secondly is just my own personal preference. The first one is. I had the pleasure of attending Township Day about a month ago, and my niece and nephew were in town from Albert Lee. I did not know that Polar Lakes Park had that enormous of a playground. They had not had that much fun in a long time, so the day was really fun. I got a henna tattoo. I was going to send it to you, but my sister said no, I couldn't because my niece was in the photo with her unicorn rainbow face. And she didn't want you guys to put it on the website. So
Well, the weather cooperated because we were afraid we were going to get rained out, but it turned out to be a good day.
It turned out fantastic. We were only able to be there for the first couple hours before the concert started. So maybe it really, I don't know if you guys stuck the landing or not, but no, I'm kidding. It was a really good event. And the photographer for the White Bear Press was there too. He also said he got some pretty amazing photos. So good job all around. Well done.
Before you go a little further, they liked the playground.
Oh yeah,
because we the park board and the town board put in a lot of effort to make it was an all inclusive for all abilities, and I think it showed on Township days that any person, adult to a child, could use equipment to their abilities.
I would agree, especially. I mean, I didn't get a chance to use much of the equipment.
Oh, you didn't climb the tower?
Well, I was watching my niece and nephew do it, and I got kind of scared. So, more often, or more to the point, I did. There was the percussionary instrument section, and there were a lot of little activities, and I saw a kid in a wheelchair using them. So, I would agree with that on the ability spectrum. And then the age thing might be more about me, not about them.
I agree with myself. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Personal comment wise, just because Indigenous Peoples Day just passed, and also I'm currently working on a cultural story with the president of the White Bear Lake Historical Society, Rob Thomas, who is of the Dakota people. It has come to my attention. I'm learning a lot more about a portion of our state's history that is pretty ugly, and it ties pretty closely to the state seal. I would request that we update our state flag in this building. It's the old one. It's ugly, first off. Second, yeah, learning more about the history, I get why people are like, let's change it. And I don't know, we all have opinions on the new
Wait a
design,
minute,
but
didn't we just,
We did our administrative,
Yeah, at the administrative building. It's
ours are updated at the administrative building, but
wonderful.
But to your point, I guess that's a discussion for Gem Lake.
Oh, yeah.
It's our meeting hall, but
It's their building.
their building also but
The plot thickens.
well, no, it's a communication item. I think it's well taken. We can certainly probably have that
I
conversation.
figured, I was like, oh, it's a flag, just change it. But no, you're right, there's gotta be thank you for changing it at your buildings too. It's not my fight, air quotes. But yeah, learning more about it, I was like, oh no, I get it now, we should change it. So, all right, thank you very much.
all right. I see Ralph left.
He's gone.
We have a town resident that usually comes to the meetings, but I think this one went a little too long for him.
He's a supporting actor. Good guy, though. Recurring guest.
Tom and Larry, you guys can go. We got to do closed session.
Yes, now you all have to leave.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate you coming.
Logan, thanks for coming.
Well, thank you.
Uh-oh.
See how many people objected? I don't know. 5 officially. 5 officially between the two? Okay.
There were no objections on the first one. Yeah,
Oh, what was all Mallard Ponds?
that's Mallard
The
Ponds.
cheaper one?
No, actually, the Pondview Court didn't, there was no objections on Pondview Court, the first one.
Yeah, but
Only on the second, 5 on the second.
The cheaper one.
Yeah.
And they never usually follow through, so when they find out what's all involved.
But they have the right.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. We'll see you.
Okay.
Motion to go into closed session.
Closed session. She'll shut us down.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second that.
With the reason, we have to state the reason.
Fire contract?
Litigation.
Potential litigation.
Potential litigation of the fire contract. Thank you.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, A lot. I have grandkids.
Okay, thumbs up. He's ready.
All right, I need a motion to come out of closed session.
I'll move to come out of closed session.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chad, you want to give us a overview?
The board discussed the ongoing litigation with the city of White Bear regarding the fire contract, fire service contract.
All right. Okay, item 12, I need a motion to receive agenda material and supplements.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to adjourn at 8:52.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thanks, folks.
I do.